Seiji with Majali, and my guest today is CEO and founder of Concur Consulting Group. She lives by the motto that you need to commit your plans to the Lord and He will establish them. Chalane Douman, welcome to Seiji with Majali, and thank you for choosing to share as you grow.
Thank you, B, for having me to share on your platform how it is to be an entrepreneur. It is a privilege, and I'm grateful for it.
So tell me who's Chalane, tell everybody who's Chalane, how it all started, where the journey began, and how you ended up being where you are now, the founder, the CEO of an amazing company that I myself have been privileged to be serviced by, Concur Consulting.
So a long time ago, at a very young age, I learned the lessons to be resilient and to persevere through all circumstances. And now, through all circumstances, I live in faith with God. I started with humble beginnings, nothing like you see around you and around me right now. I grew up very poor and had to deal with lots of painful hardships. I was raised by a very strong, single, God-fearing mom. I'm the eldest of 2 children. And in saying that, a lot of responsibilities fell on my shoulders. Yeah. And I had to be wary of other people's needs and be considerate of that as well, including, just going out there and trying to help my mom at a very young age as well. So that's my background. What defines me, or what defined me, was my working experience. So after school, it was something I was able to gain a lot of more information through the job experiences I had. And then finally, I got the most information that would then ultimately change my life. I worked in a very renowned business school, and I got to learn business skills through business and being in business and being in every area of business. So starting right from being in sales to being at the front desk to just growing in the business arena. And I then ended up managing training interventions at a capacity building company. So in saying all of that, when I ended up at the business school itself, I was exposed to now world-changing ideas that impacted me as a person. And I had so much information at my hands. We were designing and delivering management leadership courses for different industries. So you can imagine the source of information that was readily available for me. And also the skills that I had developed through managing and coordinating and delivering these programs. It just inspired me to take ownership of who I was, to take accountability for my future and change my narrative. And I dreamed a very big dream to make a difference, not in just my life, but in other people's lives. And then that's what basically fundamentally caused me to register Concur Consulting and become the founder and CEO. I then, after that, piloted my concept of consulting while I was still in corporate for a while, because I was being practical about it, and I had to think what I was doing and what I wanted to do. And that also was something that came from my learning in industry, to say, who am I? What do I want? What is my brand? Where do I want to go? So very early, I identified small business challenges, entrepreneurial challenges, and I made it my business to find solutions to help those businesses. And then you have Concur Consulting.
Wow. It sounds like a journey. A really, we might not understand the full story behind the journey that you've been through. But I do, from my interactions with you, understand that you were a single mother as well yourself, and you're raising a very awesome young man.
Thank you.
So tell me how the transition has been from a very stable job, providing a stable home for your son, into this unstable, risky business of being an entrepreneur, and how you managed to do the transition, and what were the challenges and how you overcome those.
Okay. So very important. It was a hard decision first because you trying to, and that's why it took a while for me to make the decision. I had to put measures in place to say, okay, I'm going to take the risk, but to this extent. And if I and obviously had different strategies in terms of how I was going to approach it. But mostly the reason I did it was for him, actually, because as a single parent and a lot of single moms out there working, and my mom's background and my background, we couldn't really provide everything for my son or for me, for that matter, my mom, me. And so I had to make a decision. And so I supplemented my income by having a business while I worked, but dedicating myself to finding an exit strategy and doing it practically and positioning it and timing it as well. It was tough. It wasn't easy, I must add.
Yeah,
my son and I, we had to make sacrifices. He understood what I was doing. But in saying that, I felt that me doing this was important for me to transfer the ability for him to then make choices for himself to change his narrative as well. So I wasn't sitting there and accepting my narrative. I wasn't sitting there going, I'm a single parent. I have a job. Yes, I'm great at what I do. I love what I do. But what more is there? So for me, because of what I'd experienced, the information I had, and the fact that I had knowledge, and knowledge is power, and if I do nothing with it, then I would be the one to have to answer for that, and I wasn't ready for that. I'm somebody that is passionate about improving my circumstances right now, today, tomorrow, for future generations, and for the people around me. And it comes from a place where I was raised through experiencing tough challenges that I had to persevere through. So the hardships were hard. The financial sacrifice was tough. And 5 years later, it's well worth it. I wouldn't change anything for the world. I'm going to be bolder now, braver now, but still, it's still challenging and it's still tough. And if I do fall, I will fall for it.
It's Chalane Douman, and it's been 5 years in business. She's still standing. She's still surviving the storms of being a small business. But we want to understand more from you. Where does this come from? What is the driving force behind all of this? What has kept you going all these years?
Okay, so the driving force around what keeps me going and my approach in life has been to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And I think B, from last night, I want yesterday to be hella jealous of me. So in saying all of that, my strive for excellence in every area of my life has been an underpinning force and approach, and trying to do things smart. My mom worked really hard, so there was no way I was inspired to work that hard, but I worked really hard at my business. I worked really hard in terms of gaining knowledge and understanding what's happening, what's relevant, how I can help. So I find solutions to problems where other people have the skill to do the hard labor. And that's, so we are own, individually, we are unique in our own strengths, and all of us have a role to play. So that was what was important for me. It's the fact that we all have a role, the fact that sometimes we don't always know what our role is. And during those times, I had people guide me in finding out who I was and helping me by sharing, okay? So there's a quote, which I'd like to remember correctly, but it comes from one of my favorite philosophers, and his name is Aristotle.
Love him.
He says, you are what you repeatedly do.
Yes.
Excellence is then not an act, but an habit. He further goes on to say that we're not the sum. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. And for me, that was important because of exclusivity and inclusivity. Because a lot in life, you're excluded through a lot of things that are going on in society, in choices, how you raise. We can unpack that. But for me, to work together, to find your tribe, to find people that believe in you, understand your vision, and support your dreams, that was important. And then I feel that sometimes we have lots of famous, rich people that have all of this power, but it's very exclusive to them. And it's not open to everybody else. And because I come from the other end of the spectrum, and I want to get to where they are, it's not the easiest because you don't know, there isn't a map.
Yeah, true.
There isn't a roadmap to that. Yes, there's lots of information, but I've been blessed to have amazing people that have allowed me to grow and share information and have pushed me forward. You included, having me sit in front of this camera. It's basically just finding it within yourself to know who you are firstly and what you want, and to be brave enough to change the narrative.
Sure. That's amazing. And I think from the stories you've been sharing and the journey that you've been sharing, one can instantly pick up that your mom has been a very prominent person in your life who's inspired you, and your son as well, because he's inspired the things you do them for him. So tell us more about the people that have inspired you specifically in building your business, people who've been there for you, people who've mentored and coached you in the journey that you've walked already, and who still are continuing, to mentor and coach you.
And so I always say that I am the product of the many people that have stopped along the way to help and lend a helping hand. I have many of them living in my life right now. I'm not too sure if they're going to be comfortable with me sharing who they are, but they know who they are, and they've been real people. More than anything else, they've been kind, genuine-hearted people that stretch out their hands, and they've been leaders in industry, leaders in business. I stand on the shoulders of giants that I know.
Sure.
And, whilst it's not always measured in money, it's measured in the quality of human beings that you have who enrich your life with their presence, and I am mighty rich.
You unfold. Now, sometimes it's the person who decides to lend a hand when no one else will. And I've experienced that myself being in business. I've experienced a lot of strangers lending a hand. So sometimes you don't have to have one person specifically mentoring you. You don't have to specifically have one person coaching you. But learning from the different people that you encounter in business, in your personal life, can be a very strong source of motivation, a strong source of coaching and mentoring. It could also be one of the best platforms because it's free. Other than that, mostly now, coaching and mentoring comes at a price, and the people around us, they teach us valuable lessons, but we take those for granted. Moving into now the crux of business. A lot of people are going into small business, and I understand why, because a lot of people are learning to become independent. They are learning to actually expand and be beyond the box that they've always been in. So they see that there's a greater need for them in the business space. So what have been the mistakes that you as a business person have noticed from these young upcoming small businesses that enter the business space, think they have found a brilliant business concept, and somehow does not become as profitable as they had foreseen it to be?
So in my experience, some of the fundamental mistakes one makes as an entrepreneur, and one mistake that I'd made, is to try and do it all by yourself.
Sure.
And I understand having an idea and having the vision for a dream and stepping out and becoming an entrepreneur and holding it close, because it's like a little baby.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to give it over to a babysitter because you're not ready yet. So sometimes that can be definitely detrimental. In my case, to an extent, because I had to reevaluate and change my direction and realize that I needed to find a model that was going to be sustainable and not allow me to incur overheads that I wasn't able to manage and then die in the first, how many?
1,000
in 1,000 days. So I was practical about it, and as a consultant, I decided that I would change the model in terms of, big business can afford talent, and we need to be wise and say, okay, fine, we can outsource certain areas of our business. We can find people that are a tribe that can help us build our business. There are lots of different things that you can do at a very young, at a starting point of your business to maintain stability until you figure out how to make the money happen. Because yes, you have a great idea, but you need the money to happen. And when the money happens, then you can move to the next level and grow and produce. But a lot of businesses feel that they need the money first and then try to run a business, and then doesn't work because they didn't understand the money concept. They put in a lot of money and they wanted lead time to build and build their base. But sometimes there are different ways of building a business. So for me, don't do it alone. Be wise about what you do. Be practical about what you're doing and understand why you're doing it.
So just trying to feed off from that advice of not doing it alone and trying to really look at it in detail. I'm a small business. I woke up today. I feel like I have a great idea that has been on my mind for the longest time, and I want to implement it. And I'm listening to you saying I shouldn't do it on my own. People want to be paid for the things they do for us these days. So how does one say, okay, I need to let go of some of the things, and I need to assess what I need to focus on and what I need to let go, so that I am not alone in building this vision or making sure that this vision comes to life. As a consultant, I'm sure you have to convince some clients to let go of some of the work so that you can assist them, come in and assist. What are the things that small businesses can, from the word go, outsource? And can say that as a model, a startup model, these are the basic things you can outsource.
Okay, first and foremostly, I'm not a numbers person, and payroll is very important in a business, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you have staff and you have people that work for you. I know sometimes because we're entrepreneurs, we're capable of doing everything.
Yeah.
We are the marketing director, the managing director, we're the IT specialist. We can do almost anything.
We're the cleaner, we are everything. Basically.
We're everything to
you're
our
the
business.
messenger, you're the driver, you everything.
So very, very important is to ensure that your business financially is doing things right. And that's also what was very important for me. That yes, as much as you know how to do the numbers and calculate, you don't know tax. You don't know what implications it may have on your business. So for me, have somebody that is an expert that can provide you with a service. And obviously there are different service providers, and there are people supporting small business, and pricing can be negotiated. And as you grow, because they're also building a relationship with you, and they're going to be invested in your growth as you grow. Do you understand? So for me, payroll would be something that I would honestly say, do find a good accountant to help you do that, so that you don't have an audit at the next tax season because you filed incorrectly. And then later on, I think a lot of us are passionate about making money, and not a lot of us have a passion for training people. So training is a very special thing, and it has to come with somebody who has the passion to be able to transfer knowledge and skill and evaluate that impact at the end of the day. And you as a business owner, you want to upskill, uptool your staff to be current and relevant. That is something that will take away from your time as an entrepreneur. Then you find an expert that's able to that. If that's what is required for your business to grow, if that's what's important and imperative, then do that. So for me, it's what's important that you can do that. What you can't do, find somebody that's an expert that will be able to help you grow. And then later on, you can bring the role in, or have that person train somebody on the role so that it can become in-house. So you have a lot of options, but for me, very important is your finances, payroll, and then HR as well. Something very important. We take a lot of time in having to select the right staff, the right attitude, the culture fit. It's a lot of work. So that too would be something I would advise someone to to outsource to somebody that's more capable of handling that and allow you to then shine as the entrepreneur and the brilliant mind that you are, the visionary that you are, to unfold your dreams. Consultants that are at my fingertips, and I can call them, and I have that surety that I can fall back on somebody that's able to allow me to do or make decisions that will impact my growth going forward. And because you don't want to end up sitting there and you have issues and you have CCMA cases, you have tax auditing problems, you don't have financials, you can't go and show the profitability of your business because you haven't done correct bookkeeping. I mean,
yeah, that's true. And it also goes back to, as an entrepreneur, we should understand the dynamics of a business. It's not only the product that makes the business, but the team that you have is also very vital in the business that you're building. So we are not specialists in all areas. We might be specialists in the product that we are selling or the service that we are providing, but we need to make sure that we surround ourselves with experts in different fields that are going to help protect our businesses as we grow. As you're saying, nobody wants to have SARS calling and auditing us. Nobody wants to have SARS telling us we are owing because we didn't do things right. So please make sure that when you start your business, surround yourselves with experts that can help you and guide you. They don't necessarily have to do the books for you or necessarily have to do the hiring for you, but they can guide you in how you have to do it. Because at the beginning, we understand that not everybody has the finances to hire an accountant. But a beautiful thing I've learned about networking is that, hey, if I know an accountant and I call them and I ask them, do I have to submit pay as you earn? They can tell me, no, you don't have to because you don't have employees. Or they tell me, yes, you do, and you have to submit it on this date, So that also is very important, to surround yourselves with entrepreneurs or experts in different fields so that you can be able to get advice as you grow in business, and you can be able to get proper guidance as you grow in business. And thank you for that, because it also makes me realize that I need a lot of experts to be able to function well as an organization, to be able to function well as a company. I cannot deal with IT. I don't know IT, but I need an IT specialist. So it's book review time now. We're going to spend time with Chalane and look at what keeps her busy when she's not running the business. She has told us that her favorite thing to do is gain knowledge through reading. And we're going to look at two of her most favorite books that she's currently reading right now. We're going to allow her to share with us what are the wisdoms that she's getting and the knowledge that she's getting from the two books. We all know that knowledge is power, but at Seiji with Majali, we believe that wisdom is more powerful because wisdom is knowledge applied. So Chalane, take us through your two books that are really keeping you busy right now.
Okay, so what you have in your hand is Grit by Angela Duckworth, and it is the power of perseverance.
Yes.
So that book has been an absolute blessing because it just resonates with who and what I've been doing, but also gives me new insights to apply. If you'd like, there's something you read.
Yeah, I was actually going through this book because I like reading myself to gain more knowledge and wisdom. So just to give a highlight of what the book says is that willingly, personal, insightful, and even life-changing, Grit is a book about what goes through your head when you fall down and how that, not talent or luck, makes all the difference. So really, it's one of those books that I think would inspire you when you feel like you are going downhill and you do not know how to come up from that, because talent and luck sometimes won't help. I'm reading it's basically a schedule of the author and how they spend their day, because sometimes, you need to understand how other successful entrepreneurs spend their day so you can be able to assess yourself. Are you spending your time doing the right things? So at 5 a.m., she wakes up. At 5:30, She does a revealing formation. At 5:30 to 6:55, it's physical training. 6:55 to 7:25 a.m., personal maintenance. At 7:30 to 8:15, breakfast. I like how her time slots are 5 minutes, 45 minutes, 25 minutes. They never really half an hours. Okay, so at 8:30 to 12:45, it's training and class. At 1 to 1:45, it's lunch. So that's just a snippet of what the author does with her time on a daily basis. But read the book to find out more what these different activities that she focuses on are and why she feels they are important for you to build passion and to build perseverance. Chalane, what is the next book, and tell us more about it?
So this is my latest book, and it's from Jim Clifton, the chairman of Gulf. It is called Born to Build. How to build a thriving startup, a winning team, new customers, and your best life imaginable.
Sure.
And this has been profound and powerful. I'm going to read basically a page to give you a bit of insight. And it's part 1. It says, what are you building? People will ask you through your life, where do you work and what do you do? They never ask you, what are you building? When conversations change to what are you building, you will change, and so will the world. Well-meaning and important global institutions, scientists, academics, and politicians has never fully understood the rare gift to build something, a God-given natural talent that many are born with, that to some degree you yourself possess. Some refer to this gift as entrepreneurship, which it is in part, but this human phenomenon is better characterized as building. And that is a little bit of insight. It is important because you need to know what you're doing. And this book, I'm excited to read because of my steps to make the next transition of my business. I'm excited to read more and to help. It even includes codes for an online build the assessment.
Oh, wow.
So it's both books are working books. It's not books that you read like leisure reading. It's actually allowing you to reflect within who you are and change your habits if it's required to. Smiling at you, reading her habits, and you know from experience what time I wake up and all the many things I do. So it's a winning habit. You need to choose to have a winning habit. And then the next thing is you need to know what you are building. I knew from a young age what I wanted. I wanted to change my narrative. Now, going forward with the fourth revolution, you need to understand we need to remain relevant with what's happened. I mean, the World Economic Forum just passed. The mining in Durban just passed. Things are changing. Are we changing with it, or are we staying behind? Because things evolve and we need to be relevant.
Sure. Wow. These are powerful books. And I believe that every entrepreneur will learn a thing or two from these books. Because one, we do need to change our habits. We need to start being consistent in the things that we do, because consistency is what will give us the results that we're looking for. It's not one act that makes you successful, but it's consistently doing the same thing until it becomes a habit that will make you successful. And knowing that you are consistent in building something is more impactful and influential than being consistent in just making money. Because to make money is easy, get a job. But being an entrepreneur is about building, and it's about having impact and influence. And I think these are great books. You should get them for yourselves and make sure you increase your knowledge, increase your wisdom. Chalane, thank you so much for joining us at Majali and sharing with us as you grow your journey. One last thing before you leave. What advice would you like to give young aspiring entrepreneurs who want to, in the near future, become like you, run successful businesses that have been in existence for over 5 years?
To young aspiring entrepreneurs, I would say find your purpose and pursue it purposefully. I would also say do what you want to do regardless of your challenges, in spite of it. And if you have to fall, fall forward.
Mm.
Be brave and bold. Take that step. Know what you want. Know what you're building. More importantly, find your village. Find your tribe. Find the people that are going to support you through this journey. And when you find the time to question what you're doing, they will hold your vision up in front of you and tell you, Dorothy, you've had it in you all the time. So for me, I would like to say, you can do anything you set your mind to. Circumstances, your background, your financial status, your job difficulties, whatever it is that you're facing, should not define you. You can and you're able to change your narrative if you choose to.
Thank you so much, Chalane. It's Seiji with Majali. It's a platform where we share the business stories of entrepreneurs, the journeys they've been through, the skills they've learned along the way, and we use those to coach and mentor those who are up and coming in the industry. Stay tuned for our next episode.